Incoming transmission.
GSL Season 1.
What is up, everybody? Welcome to the GSL Season 1 Finals here. It has been an incredible season so far. A fast season as well. I'm Tasteless, joined with me is State. How you doing, buddy?
Oh, I am so excited to get into these games. It's an incredible lineup of players that we've got. herO, SHIN, and Maru fighting it out to be the first GSL champion in 2026.
Yes, it's amazing to have an audience down here. We are packed here at the Freak Up studio. And it's not just going to be the final matches. We're going to be doing the round of 4 as well. And so it's going to be a long night of exciting games.
Yeah, each semifinal going to be a best of 5, and then we have the best of 7 grand finals to cap it off. It should be an epic night of games. And as you said, Tasteless, having a live audience like this, it is already a packed house. And I mean, we just started the show. It is so good to be back in this studio. It's so good to have a live audience, to have the players in the venue. Oh, it's a treat.
It's going to be special. This has been the new format for the GSL, so it's a marathon when it comes to the games here. Previously, the players would just have the finals they would need to prepare for, but now you have 2 major matches you got to get through. So it's going to be a real test of, not just, one matchup or one player. And by the way, the lineup for the 4 players that we have here is looking very strong.
Yeah, it's 2 Terrans, a Protoss, and a Zerg, and we're starting things off with a TVP and a TVZ, so no matter what, when we go into the finals, it's going to be the second matchup that any one of these players is going to play.
Right.
And as you said, because we have a best of 5 semifinals and then the best of 7 finals on the same day, it is going to be a little bit of a challenge having to prepare for both of these. You need to be very well-rounded coming into this one. It's not like you have a week to prepare for just one series. It's going to be about who is the best player all around today.
Right. Now, SHIN, he is a bit of an underdog here coming into this. I feel like he's kind of the odd man out compared to the other 3 players that we have here. So it'll be interesting to see if he can perform. That would be an incredible upset if he was to win his match.
Oh, it would be huge, Tasteless.
Yeah, Cure versus herO, I think, is a much closer match here.
Yeah, that one, I think personally I have to give the edge to herO, but Cure, it feels like he has been getting better and better over the past couple of months, almost regaining the form that he had where he was a perennial GSL finalist candidate a couple of years ago. Cure seems to be figuring out TVP quite a bit. He's taken a lot of games, a lot of series off of herO recently, and so I'm curious how he's going to do. But for me, looking at the other semifinal, SHIN versus Maru, these are 2 players where, if I remember off the top of my head, I think they have played 33 series that have been best of 3 or longer, and Maru has won all 33.
So insane.
They first played in GSL against each other in 2016. I think their first series against each other in general was in 2014. That's 10-plus years of StarCraft 2, and SHIN has never been able to take Maru down.
That's more than half of the history of StarCraft 2 and basically the entirety of Legacy of the Void.
Yeah.
So it doesn't mean it's impossible, but, man, I mean, there's definitely a history here, and it's definitely followed a pattern. So we'll see what he's able to do. Again, I think herO, that's a tougher one to call.
Yeah,
that's one that could go either way. Anyways, guys, if you want to support the GSL, consider, well, we have a variety of ways to do it. So you can sign up for Code A, which is basic, Code S, which is kind of like a premium membership. There's also a way to support via Patreon. So see what makes sense for you and sign up if you would.
You can join, whether it be on the SOOP website or directly on Patreon. Both options, very viable, and there are a ton of rewards that you see there on the screen, especially and particularly the replays. I mean, whether it be GSL or RSL, I always love to talk about the replays. Tasteless,
I know you do.
Folks, they are so spoiled. They're so spoiled. Anyway, guys, these are the crowdfunding goals for GSL here in 2026. If we reach $6,000 a month, which I believe we have eclipsed already at this point. A GSL CK, which is an online event, will be taking place 2 times per month. And if we reach $10,000, that will secure a GSL Season 3 in this year.
Yeah, so we will we'll see where we get. And, you know, this is kind of where StarCraft 2 is at right now.
Right.
You know, it's a legacy game now. So much history, and it's a game that really ages like a fine wine, as I've said in previous casts. I feel like it's, you know, RTS games are crazy and they're fun right when they come out, but it's not until a couple years or sometimes even a decade plus you really get to see just how deep it goes and how much we can understand about it.
Total amount of donation now up to nearly $7,000 across both SOOP and Patreon. So make sure you go to either of those websites if you would like to contribute, get the rewards, support the GSL. As tournaments like this, as you said, Taylor, they wouldn't be possible without the support of the community. And it's not just the GSL, it's all sorts of crowdfunding events across the entire globe here for StarCraft 2. So a big thanks to our Patreon and supporters here at the GSL.
Yeah, I like that we have, what did we have, like a star in here for each
Yeah, we
name?
gotta, well, we can't. Ghost, we can't let you know that it's Ghost Mech.
I was gonna say, how do we know? I'm like, I think I can fill in all these names.
Privacy is paramount here at the GSL.
Yeah, this is. I want to know the rationale for this. This is so funny looking to me because
DAID, who could that be, Tasteless?
Yeah, who could say? Is it Dodid?
Dodid. Thank you very much, Dodid.
Yeah,
it's almost like a little guessing game now. Looking at these, like, can you fill in the blanks?
It's funny for me because it's IDs. If it was like real names or emails, I'm like, okay, that makes sense. But all right, well, whatever. I'll go with it. So yeah, you can see the different.
It's like a crossword puzzle or something. It's like, can you fill in the gap to make the word correct? It's like CHOPERS. It has to be choppers, right?
Yeah. No, I think it's a B.
That's basil, isn't it? Anyway, folks, this is the matchup here across the GSL. Maru and herO advancing from the round of 8 Group A, SHIN and herO advancing from the round of 8 Group B, and they are now your semifinalists. We're going to be having 2 semifinals, the best of 5s between herO and herO, SHIN and Maru, deciding the finals, all taking place tonight. It's going to be a long night. It's going to be a ton of games, so make sure you strap in, get comfortable, grab a snack, get some water, make sure you stay hydrated. It's going to be a marathon.
I can't wait to get this going here. I think herO, I'm especially excited about that. I want to root here for SHIN, see if he can maybe actually come out here with an upset against Maru. I think it's going to be one of the hardest GSL round of 4s ever, maybe. It was exciting to see that SHIN got this far. SHIN, by the way, is looking really strong here in 2026. So we'll see, what kind of game it's going to be. herO, PVT has gone through some pretty crazy changes. We're going to be exploring that a little bit more when we get into the actual match. We're going to be going to an interview in a little bit here and see what the two players are thinking before we hop into this. But, PVT, it's been, we're going to do the interview now, and then I will talk about that.
경기 또 이 맞대결 상당히 좀 궁금한데 저희도 중계석에서 라이브로 직접 토스터프 좀 이야기 나눠보도록 하겠습니다. 먼저 김도욱 선수 안녕하세요.
Hi, Cure.
네.
Hi.
네, 박수 부탁드립니다.
All right, round of applause, please.
혼자만 사실은 12강부터 출발을 했어요.
All right, you're the only one started from the round of 12, and now you're here. So how has the process has been? So has this it solidified you? Well, coming out here, I actually got the time to look back myself, and I did a lot of ladder games, but also I did a lot of custom games. So I tried to make a lot of counter. But yeah, so I think that kind of worked. Yeah, there's a lot of stories here. And finally, while your opponent got to be herO, how do you feel? Well, herO got him a lot of times. herO got me a lot of times in the big games. It stressed me a lot. So I really want to win this time. Well, you're kind of trying to be acting weak here. Well, so I'm trying to ask herO here. What do you think? Well, I mean, me myself also has a lot of track record of losing to Cure, so I think he's kind of backing out. How about you, Ryung? Any questions? Well, you said you have a lot of custom games here, practice. So, did you have any thoughts on Cure here? Well, personally, I didn't really feel good on playing custom games myself, so I just played a lot of ladder games. And I played a lot of custom games with Ryung, actually, so yeah, I think I can win. Yeah. So that means if the game goes south, that it's all Ryung's fault, right? Yeah, it is. Like I think he frauded me. Well, how about you, Ryung? Well, I had a really hard time playing with herO because I lost a lot to him. So any questions to Cure Solar? Well, I think I saw like he analyzed a lot with a lot of custom games and VODs. So what do you think of Cure's playstyle here? Well, particularly against herO, I really don't need to have a conversation. So I'm just gonna smack him here. Let's see the predictions. Oh, 72% against 28. Well, that's gonna be a little sting for you, Cure. Well, you have a lot of journey, and you got to round of 4, and your odds are against you 70-30. How do you feel about that? Well, I have to admit, like after the EWC, my performance hasn't been great. So I think, yeah, that's kind of reflects that. But yeah, but I had beat a lot of tough opponents in the round of 8, so I'm pretty confident. So how do you feel about predictions, herO? Well, actually, I'm really thankful that many people think that I'm really in good form, so I'm really grateful for that. But I'm not gonna back down, not let my guard down, because Cure showed a lot of potential here around. So yeah. Well, you're kind of respecting the player, so you're like playing down a bit, don't you? Well, I kind of little did. So. Well, you have a lot of history and good win rate of herO, so I think that reflects that on the predictions. So, any last words, both players, starting Cure? Well, he's a tough opponent for sure, but I'm gonna do my best. And then I prepared a lot for this, so yeah, I'm gonna lift the trophy here. Any words, herO? And a lot of people came here, and of my fans also came here a lot as well. So yeah, I'm going to repay with a win. A lot of round of applause for both.
Thank you, Maddox. Excellent work as always. We're going to be going into this match in a little bit here, guys. This should be a good one. I think Cure's gotten so good at TVP. I know that the fans voted herO as the favorite. If I had to pick one, I probably would put herO as like the slight favorite, but I think Cure has a real shot of taking this.
I can absolutely see this series going either way. It feels like Cure has become so well-rounded in TVP as a matchup recently. There was some time ago, I want to say 3 or 4 years ago, where I looked at Cure at being the best TVP player in the world for a long time, and then we had this significant meta shift where you saw Protoss players expanding more quickly, getting better at parrying early game attacks, and Cure kind of dropped off a little bit in that matchup. But it feels like he's been revitalized recently. He's dealing out a lot of different builds. He's got a wide range of strategies that he can deploy, whether it be timing attacks, whether it be macro late game play, whether it be really cheesy openings too. And in a best of 5 series like this one against herO, even if he is slightly under favored here, you got to give Cure a fair shake. I think at 70-30, it's a little bit too optimistic on herO's side of things, but we are at the same time talking about the best Protoss player in the world.
Yeah, I mean, herO really at the forefront of what Protoss can do and how they can play. And, he's kind of a Protoss's Protoss.
Oh, yeah.
I mean, he really knows how to exploit weaknesses in different matchups, how to kind of leverage positions. And I'm super excited about this one. I would not be shocked if Cure did win. I think, again, herO probably the expected victor, though.
All right, players getting ready right now before we jump into the first semifinal of the night here in GSL Season 1 for 2026. We take a look back at Cure's journey here, of course, as Maddox pointed out, the only player to emerge victorious from the round of 12 and make it all the way into the semifinals and the finals. Beat quite a few Protoss players to do it too. A 2-0 victory over Maru, an upset win, I would say, over Maru, or a Classic and Maru in the round of 8, and also taking down Trigger in the round of 12. So it's been an impressive run for Kira thus far.
Yeah, and you know, looking at Kira here, if he is to go on, I think he's got a real shot against Maru. Again,
for
Maru
sure.
would be the favorite. I think both of his matchups that he could potentially have here, he'd be the underdog. Again, if we have a Kira SHIN matchup, then I guess, you know, all the upsets that were possible happen there. But, you know, herO, he had an amazing 2025, actually winning RSL offline at the end of the year. This is kind of the first big tournament back as we're now entering into the summer here. You know, we had a late start for the whole StarCraft 2 season everywhere. And so this is going to be a lot of fun to see how he performs. He seems to be in good shape. You know, the general consensus is he's an extremely strong player and a real threat to take this whole thing. And it looks like we're ready to go into this best of 5. We're going to start this off on the map Old Republic.
Old Republic there for set number 1. White Rabbit and 10,000 feet will round things out through set number 3. And then should we go to a map 4 or a map 5, Ruby Rock and Tourmaline as the players are getting ready. In a moment, we'll be starting the GSL 2026 Season 1 semifinals. Kira and herO. It's been a long journey for both of them. And herO, the best Protoss player in the world right now. Kira, he's always been one of the best Terran players, and it feels like he just keeps getting stronger. Will he keep that form? Game number 1, it's loading up. We're going to Old Republic. Let's start out as semifinal.
All right, guys, let's get to it. Game 1, ready to go. Kira versus herO starting now. Okay, Kira here in the top right, herO in the bottom left. Let's talk about the matchup in general before we kind of get into the specifics of what they're going to do. There were a lot of games in 2025 where Protoss basically just kind of like became Zerg almost and just sort of took the whole map, kind of occupied everything, and Terran couldn't really do a whole lot, you know, and so a lot of Terrans would either get drowned in the late game or die trying to stop the Protoss in the process. Now, Kira this year seems to have presented a solution to this by basically staying back, you know, powering it out and kind of having a death ball that's so strong and so teched out that even if Protoss has, you know, maybe 100% more income than the Terran, he's able to do it by taking out these key tech units and then basically blasting, melting through, you know, Zealots, Stalkers, the more mineral-heavy stuff. That we saw this previously in RSL, and did we see this in GSL as well? I'm casting both of these, so now it's a big soup in my brain.
Yeah, everything is certainly a soup. We likely have seen it in GSL. It's just such a popular PvT style. And I think, yeah, Kira's been one of the players that really has proven that there's 2 solid approaches that Terran can go for against that Protoss style. It's either you try to beat them in the early game, whether it be with an SCV pull, some kind of proxy or timing attack, or you beat them in the late game by having a more efficient army, almost reminiscent of the days where we had, you know, TBZs where the Zerg player, the onus would be on them to try and prevent the Terran from getting up to 5 bases, from getting up to 10 gases and building effectively a super army. It's kind of the same way for Protoss now. You got to consume the entire map. You got to funnel everything into powering up with a powerful gateway army, just a little bit of tech support, usually in the form of Colossus, and you try and break down the Terran. And so Kira, in every game, it feels like he has a choice to make. Is he going to be going for this kind of early game pressure, trying to defeat herO early on, or will he be playing this survivalist style, this war of attrition versus herO, where he just wants to defend?
Yeah, and I think it was actually herO versus Kira in RSL that we saw this. So we're going to have the concussive shell opening, which, you know, Kira seems to have really liked. He's done this in the past. And, you know, we're going to see him continue to tech up. And by the way, herO does not have to play that kind of gobble up the whole map style. It's just what has been trendy at the time. I mean, there's also ways to play where you're going to try to push into the Terran. You know, you're going to get Colossus and try to control the map. There's also games where you do, like, you know, 4-gate Blink Stalker with Observers and try to cripple the Terran immediately. So for now, we've got that concussive shell about to finish. We have the first eBay done here. And he hasn't moved out with the Marauders, but he might.
Yeah, it's an interesting build that Kira's been mixing in a lot, both in GSL and in other tournaments that have been happening. where you go for this early Marauder. You usually get 1 or 2 of them with concussive shell, and it guarantees that if herO were to send a unit early out, such as a Stalker or such as an Adept, that gateway unit will get sniped basically for free. And I think herO has played Cure enough in a lot of the online tournaments recently that he's aware of this, and so that's one of the reasons why herO right now is playing so conservatively on his side of the map. Actually, look at this, Tasteless. We have a very early Immortal coming out for herO. This is not something we see often.
Yeah, I'm used to seeing, you know, just obs and, you know, sometimes a Warp Prism to try to harass. But, you know, this could be a response to the new concussive first Marauder opening, right? Is that you kind of come out like we're seeing here, like, you know, now he's going to do damage to this and Blink's not available. You basically lose the Stalker if they don't have Blink. I mean, it's an automatic death and it doesn't trade out. But yeah, I mean, one Immortal would be happy to fight that.
Yeah, and the fact that herO doesn't even have a Twilight Council right now makes me think that he's going to get really aggressive with this. He's already building a Warp Prism. It's about 75% done, and with 3 gateways worth of infrastructure behind this, here he's scouting, confirms there is no third Nexus just yet, and that's going to cue him to build up a bunker because the pressure from herO is coming, and this is not a build that we see very often from Protoss in PvT. It might catch Cure off guard.
Yeah, this is going to hit really hard. And this is funny because it looks small, but it might be the right combination of units to actually just crush this fight. The Stalkers, sorry, the SCVs are going to come out here. One Immortal, Marauder, why am I flipping everything over here? is going to be picked off. He kills that. There's another Warpin coming in. The tank sieged up but unsieges. Now he can ferry these units up into the main if he wants to. It's only one siege tank. He's going to send the Adepts in to end. The depots do not get raised.
Oh, the Adepts, they're going to shade in on top of the Marines, on top of the Cyclone, and now the Stalkers and Immortal drop on top of the tank. The main firepower here for the Terran player has been eliminated, and with Warp Prism Micro, it'll be hard for Cure to actually take down this Immortal.
Dude, herO's so good. This style is just genius. The Zealots are just destroying the SCVs. There's still a Warp Prism with an Immortal, and I think it's one Adept inside. Meanwhile, the bunker is going to go down at the entrance. He recalls the Warp Prism back home. And I got to say, man, I mean, that was a beautiful opening there from herO that is entirely engineered. I've never seen quite that opening, but you can see it's totally engineered to punish exactly what Cure is doing and has been doing for the last few months.
It perfectly accomplished its objective, and the fact that herO moved up the ramp and Cure was still anticipating some number of gateway units with 2 Marauders, he was trying to catch something. Maybe another Stalker, maybe a couple of Adepts there, but herO instead just able to, with a reverse card, take the 2 Marauders out and then get a ton of damage off in the main base. And behind it, he's been macroing up. He now has a Twilight Council done, he is researching Charge. The 3rd base for Protoss has also been established. More gateways are coming through. And Cure suffered a lot of economic damage, plus his army has basically been reset. He's trying to build it back up from scratch, and that means that Cure will be hard-pressed to find any window for damage in the mid-game here versus herO.
Oh my gosh, he's going to try to unload over here. Doesn't get much done. I think that the damage already has been enough, but it seems like herO wants to try to press further and maybe come in here and bust. This might work. He has, you know, a couple seconds out from charge here, about 10 seconds. Now, there's no bunker. The tank is sort of sitting in the mineral line. There is a tank on the high ground. I don't know. You know, sometimes the move to attack in can be the wrong move. We're going to see if this works or not. If it doesn't, I feel like we could end up seeing Cure kind of stabilize here as herO would feed into this. But let's see.
There's no combat shield, no stim for Cure just yet. It's mostly going to be unstim Marines, and the siege tank's trying to defend as herO charges in, drops the Immortals on the high ground, picks off the siege tank there, and then it's going to be retreating back. And with a lot of gateways now powered up, we're going to have a warp in of 7 more Zealots. herO, he's charging up once more. Will he push back into the natural expansion?
Yeah, now stim is done, which makes us a lot more fearsome. And the Marines are going to come forward here. The Zealots can only soak up so much. And, you know, the problem is when you have just these, this Warp Prism like this, you know, you can't pick up and save everything else. The body blocking from the Stalker are actually pretty crazy. These infantry are still stimming and chasing this literally all the way across the map. He's actually going to unload the Immortals for a second here. Oh!
Warp Prism gets taken out, and Cure just flipped this game on its head. Now it is herO whose army's been reset. He has no robo units back at home. That second push into the natural expansion of Cure was 100% overextension. It's just a handful of Zealots and 1 Immortal right now. The first Colossus only just started. Can Cure find some damage? Oh, that's a lot of Zealots, Tasteless.
Yeah, the counter punch, I think he's got to go with this. The question is this too much? Would it be better for terran to try to take a third base instead? The Zealots are going to come back across the map. You know, this infantry has not had time to heal, and there's not enough medevacs to pick everything up.
The medevac count being as low as it is means that the healing is few and far between here for Cure, especially the fact that he had to stim, I think, 2 or 3 times to get all the way across map and snipe that Warp Prism. It'll be still a minute or so until he's fully healed up. That's going to provide the window that herO needs to get the first Colossus out to begin establishing a 4th base at the 9 o'clock position. This game's going to quiet down a little bit. Cure taking a 3rd expansion. Command center being built here in the natural, as you can see. And herO's going to be going for a massive Zealot run by. That's like 24 Zealots.
Yeah, that's a lot. That's a lot that's going to hit over there. Again, Protoss is on 4 bases. Terran's on 2. There is a 3rd command center, but it hasn't been landed yet. Is the counterattack too big? Is what Protoss has a little bit too flimsy? Can it not even hold this off? The Zealots are going to come through here.
Oh, there are 2 Widow Mines. If they get big shots on these Zealots, it might go a long way towards simplifying the position here for Cure. They get good shots, and look at the Marauder right now, working as a wall in here. As Cure's going to stim on the other side of the map, try and focus fire down this Colossus as soon as he can get on top of it, but there isn't enough bio, so instead he's going to work on the Zealots, on the Immortals, while simultaneously defending back at home. Now he's able to power through and take out the Colossus. There's not enough army back at home for herO. The Zealots have been cleaned up. He has 2 Zealots and 1 Colossus in total on the map.
And now these probes are going to go down. There's really nowhere for them to escape to. And from here, I mean, this is scary, right? Like, it's been a reset on the Robotech. We have that first Immortal out, but, you know, he can only get them out 1 at a time unless he makes more Robos. And you have to wonder, you know, when the next attack comes in here, is this going to be enough to break herO?
Had a couple moments of overextension by herO already in this game number 1. The second push into the natural expansion, and then the large swarm of Zealots that flooded in a minute ago. If those were back at home, I think he would easily parry the attack that Cure is hurling at him, but as it is now, herO struggling to survive. Cure's going to stim in again. It's mostly Zealots and Colossus here. The Colossi stutter stepping forward. It seems like there's enough Zealots to stabilize this position for herO, but with more reinforcements coming in, you can see that concave for Cure really starting to do some work.
Yeah, I mean, the medevacs are all drained of energy. There's 2 Colossi over here. The numbers are looking pretty good for the Terran. He's kiting pretty well. He takes out 1. Yeah, the Marauders, you know, they're very tanky. herO, by the way, still ahead in workers. He's lost a lot of workers, but he's still actually mining a bit more. And, you know, if a 3rd Colossus can come out here, I'm sorry, a 2nd one. Okay, he's got the Vikings. Now, when the Viking count starts to add up, that's where you can kind of lean back on your infantry to win the game, because the Vikings they're happy to be sacrificed if you can kill the Colossus off, because, you know, when you get to +2/+2 Marine Marauder, you're pretty happy to fight Zealot, Stalker, Sentry.
And thinking back to the earlier stages of this game, I don't believe that herO's taken down a single medevac just yet. So Cure, he already has the initial 6 that he built. They're all a little bit battered and bruised, but they're still healing just fine. And that means that he can turn the Starport production into pure Viking, into pure Liberator, whatever attacking units that he wants. Makes the army composition for Terran a lot more formidable here against a herO that has been playing very gas-light. We have another engagement coming in. Zealots charging forward. The force field actually quite good at blocking the position here for Cure. Now Cure has to micro all the way back home. I don't think there's a bunker at the 3rd base, so you got to be very careful here as Cure.
Yeah, I mean, Cure has been so in herO's face for the time being that, yeah, he doesn't have any defense. He doesn't have, like, a defensive position at all. And, by the way, this has just been a back-and-forth game. Action seesawing from one side of the map to the other, and then back over to the other side of the map. Did he see that? I don't think he did.
I'm not sure he did.
By the way, again, medevacs basically depleted of energy. So when you see 8 medevacs flying around, you might think, okay, well, this is going to be a lot of sustain. There's actually almost none. All they can really do right now is pick up and go somewhere else. I don't know if herO's is going to attack. Oh, I think he is, actually. He's going to come in here and hit. And, you know, it's mostly Liberators and then infantry that can't be healed that easily.
This is a tough position to attack into, though, as herO, and so he's going to back off. Cure simultaneously attacking This expansion here at 9 o'clock, that's going to force a recall. Already 11 workers have gone down, and now how many Stalkers do we have in the natural expansion to deal with a drop that might go there? It seems like for now, looking at the minivac, Curie's not going to test it. He's going to keep the medevac in the dead airspace here between those two expansions. Now, Curie, he's done a great job of stabilizing after it looked like herO might just sweep him off his feet with the very first push.
I mean, this has been such a good game one here to start the final day of GSL Season 1 here off. I mean, this is crazy. Terran's going to come with a big counter punch. He did force the recalls back, so it's his turn to try to move out on the map. This base is basically undefended. He's going to have to evacuate pros, but they can't get out. They're going to flee to the north. Meanwhile, a counterattack here from herO. Oh my god, this is crazy. Huge warp in. Terran has to immediately come back. Now the base was taken out for Protoss. The question is now, can Terran recover?
herO trying to force almost a base trade situation right now. The third for Cure is going to get lifted, as well as the fourth Nexus. Keep in mind, half the army here for Cure. It's halfway across the map. It's heading towards the third expansion here for herO, so Cure is still trying to focus on limiting the economic capabilities right now of Protoss. He will be able to take down one more Nexus. Meanwhile, Zealots, they're streaming into the main base and the natural expansion, so both sides hemorrhaging workers right now.
Okay, I mean, bases are falling everywhere. It looks like these Zealots are going to be cleaned up. Cure's army now is going to be chased down by these Stalkers. Can he actually blink under before a pickup? Yeah, he's going to get in here, and all of this is going to get wiped out. I think herO is back on top. As crazy as this is. Terran is so low on workers. Terran, only 3 bases, and yes, Protoss did lose 2 bases in the process, but I think Protoss is stabilized. The Robotech, I mean, we're looking at, I think it was 3 Immortals, 3 Colossi, and then there were Disruptors too. I didn't get a chance to get, so there's 4 Disruptors. So this is a lot. This is that splash damage we were talking about that you really need. I love the fake Warp Prism. Look at me, I'm gonna warp in your main. Not.
The thing is, I don't think that herO's composition can easily push into where Cure is set up. Cure's got siege tanks, he's got Liberators galore on the high ground, and it's just a very meager amount of Stalkers here for herO. herO's army is designed very defensively to parry any attacks that come in on the ground. It's not very good at getting active, and that means that Cure, if he wants, can likely force a longer game here. The issue is, even though he took out all those extra expansions for herO, I think it was, what, 2 or 3 Nexus in total that Cure was able to eliminate, herO still has a very healthy number of workers. He's double expanding right now. He's already expanded to the top left corner, and he's taking 2 more bases on top of that. So in just a couple of minutes here, herO's economy is going to go through the roof.
Okay, so he's going to poke in. Oh, there's medevac actually playing up there. He's going to try to come in and hit now. Cure has to hold this or he's going to lose the game, by the way. Oh, nice shots into the workers. Free kills.
Their medevac gets taken out. Fusion core underway. Cure really needs to get Liberator range upgrade as well as medevac energy upgrades on those. And you can see it's challenging for herO to try and break any position like this one. If Cure can keep tabs on the Protoss army and have his Liberators in position to push him away, herO will have a hard time breaking through. But in a moment like this one with only 1 Liberator sieged, that's the window where herO can get a little bit of damage in.
Okay, so another great drop in here. This is going to force a warp in over here by the top left. Nexus. Oh! The medevac gets out. This has been, like, literally, since the first few minutes, it's been nonstop fighting the whole time. It's crazy.
Yeah, this has been a wild game one between these two, and it's kind of what you expect with Cure and herO being in the form that they both are. And uh-oh, herO trying to catch Cure unsieged, but
wait, what is
again,
he
these
doing?
Liberators, he wants to blink and get one more kill, but
yeah,
there are just so many Liberators right now, Tasteless, that honestly, I feel like herO needs to start taking additional investment geysers and go into something like Tempest, because this army for Cure, unless you outposition it and shave off Liberators like this, it is so difficult to trade against this Terran army.
And the Liberators are, you know, very nimble now. They can relocate really fast. But, you know, when you get warp-ins like this, the punish is so big. Because Cure is really operating off a very little bit. Oh my god, beautifully done. Advanced ballistics denied. Now going to go for the armor upgrade over at the eBay.
This Warp Prism doing work right now in the main base, and with a blink forward, sniping 2 more Liberators. hero's getting some really good jabs in right now on Cure. The tech's getting denied, the armor upgrade plus Liberator range, and being able to take out a lot of Liberators on the front line simultaneously means that Cure his defensive bastion that he's been setting up, the siege tanks, the liberators, it has dwindled down to 1 tank at the junction between the 3rd and the 4th base and 4 liberators. This is now a very manageable amount of defense to work with here for herO. I think herO might actually be able to push through.
Yeah. If he can just get rid of these liberators. The liberators are basically what are keeping Protoss shut out. By the way, there is not... Well, hold on a second, actually. I take that back. He's going to try to loop around here and hit this fresh 4th base. The liberators are not set up yet. I think he's going to go for it now.
herO has to be careful because if he takes an engagement and he loses it, he doesn't have the bank to remax.
Right.
I feel like if herO goes for the fight and loses hard enough, herO can just push across the map and end the game before herO will have any chance of replenishing his army. And so right now, it's effectively a war of attrition. It's herO keeping Cure on 3 bases, going for engagements where he can shame off a couple of units here and there, and sniping economy, sniping tech and upgrades.
By the way, herO has filled in all of his bases. He's essentially maxed out. Minerals and gas are going to flood in here. Okay, we come in with another attack. These disruptor shots are only just hitting the edges of the army group. Well, not that one. That was a pretty nice hit. And I love the 4 zealots endlessly streaming through here. Just kill SCVs, kill anything you can find over here. Force some of the infantry away.
herO's been able to get so much damage done, just shaving off Viking after Viking, medevac after medevac, as well as those liberators. You know, Cure, I still think in a head-on engagement, Cure's army is considerably better. You know, he's still got 138 army supply to the 112 of herO. herO's army is mostly gateway units. I think that might mean that Cure is going to push across the map in a moment, because if he can force a fight here versus herO, you know, herO's army is excellent with the disruptors at zoning away the bio and with the blink stalkers at sniping a couple of starport units, at shaving off little pieces of Cure's army. But if Cure can force a head-on engagement, that's going to be the moment where he will find some strength. And so herO, he senses this. It looks like he wants to go for another base trick situation because he doesn't want to fight Cure's army head on, but he's still going to meet a good bit of it.
Okay, he's going to chuck these in. And you know, you got to remember, like, herO has got so much of the map, so it's always bad to lose a base, but it's way less bad when you have so many expansions on the map. I mean, he's basically taking every available location and filling it in. And the minerals are starting to pile up. The gas will pile up shortly after that. And it's much harder for Terran to stretch out on the map. It's pretty hard to get more than 5 bases for Terran on almost any map. And even then, 5 bases is actually a lot. Wow, double Warp Prism. Look at this.
Yeah, Warp Prism speed also just got started here for herO, so he's very much focusing on the Warp Prisms right now. Could be one way to leverage his economic might, sending those Warp Prisms to the main base.
He's using the command center from his main to try to land at a new base. And I think he's going to try to just run in here. Now, he can't quite get those liberators. There's a lot of stalkers, but he seems to be unable to blink underneath them. And with a big drop here in the main, I mean, this is going to be a real pain here for Cure. It's going to be very hard to defend all these locations at once.
5th command center getting denied right now. Zealots dropping in the main base, going for even more tech. If they can take it on the Ghost Academy, that would be huge here for herO.
I mean, this is so many zealots.
Watching the minimap, Cure's going to try and snipe the bases down in the bottom right in just a moment.
He's got to try to get those liberators, man. There's just always enough that the rest of the army has to back out. He's going to recall something over here. And, oh, man, he did not target the medevac. It's still probably fine. Again, it's, oh, my God, he's going to come in here again and try to hit this location up at that expansion. It just seems like there's not quite enough here for Cure. And then Cure's going to just go all the way through the map, right down the middle, and try to smash everything on this side.
Yeah, this is going to be a full-on base trade right now. herO's army's on Cure's side of the map. Cure's army, besides just the Liberators, it is going for all the production right now. And with these Warp Prisms, it means that herO can start replenishing in the main base of Cure. For Cure, he needs to find some dead airspace, I think, where he can hide some structures to prevent elimination, because everything that he's got right now is in that top right quadrant of the map. And it's imperative that he takes down the production here for herO. herO still has a lot of expansions. There's much income coming in right now for Protoss. Cure cannot afford to allow herO to produce any more units on his side of the map if he wants to win this game.
Yeah, he goes ahead and gets rid of that medevac. Now, the main is going to fall. I mean, we're talking like no more warp-ins for Protoss. You're going to have to start to rebuild this infrastructure. And the same is true for Terran. Terran cannot build. Now, the army right now is bigger in supply for herO, but that doesn't mean that it's necessarily better. Stim and Medivacs can really go a long way. There is splash damage available. We've got a Colossus, we have 5 disruptors, but disruptor shots can be dodged. So it's not guaranteed damage.
A lot of this is going to come down to whether those disruptor shots actually land or not, because for herO, a lot of the firepower of his army was lost in the base trade. He lost the Liberators, and so now the engagement coming through. It's a pretty big concave right here for herO. There's so many stalkers. First few disruptor shots don't connect.
Oh!
Now the focus fire coming in from herO. He's able to take down the disruptors. He's sprinting forward, but I think there might be enough stalkers that herO can just blink on top of this and take game number 1.
Dude, what a crazy first game.
Oh.
herO, what an ending to that game that was. That was like literally action the whole time, like 25 minutes of just back and forth, fights all over the map. But herO did it. He just had enough coming in, and he had done enough damage in that counterattack. That many stalkers, even with just a few disruptors and 1 Colossus, it's enough to beat herO. But what a hell of a fight he put up.
It was looking like herO was going to be knocked out of the game in the very early stages when herO went for that 3-gate robo timing attack on 2 bases. He was able to isolate some Marauders. He took down the bunker. He took down the siege tanks. herO lost, I want to say, like a third of his SCVs to that initial attack. And for herO to fight back from that position in game number 1 into the crazy game that we just had, I think bodes really well for herO, even though he lost that first map. I think it goes to say he's going to be a formidable opponent no matter what happens here in map number 2 and map number 3.
We're going to go to White Rabbit here for the next map. herO and herO having one of the funnest PvTs you could ever imagine. But herO comes out on top. herO's the victor, able to basically take an extremely chaotic game. By the way, with an opener that worked until it blew up in his face. He was supposed to close that game out and be in game 2 like 15 minutes ago. But here we are. herO managed to fight back very well. But herO has a lot of interesting ideas coming into this PvT. He really seems to identify that there is weakness with the Marauder Concussive Expand build, and that is a fast Immortal.
herO uncorking some special PvT builds here to start things out versus Cure. Keep in mind, Maru versus SHIN is the other semifinal, so it's possible that herO, if he advances here versus Cure, his likely opponent is going to be Maru, given the storied history between Maru and SHIN. So you got to keep that in mind here as herO, but of course, if you want to make it to the finals, you first have to get through one of the best TvP players in the world in Cure, and I'm at the edge of my seat waiting to see what the strategies are going to be here in game number 2, because game number 1, it was not what I expected.
Yeah, well, I thought that herO was going to just be so passive. By the way, him using the hot pack here on his wrist, you got to imagine your wrist's going to be pretty tender after a taxing game like that one.
Winter Madness will be map number 2 as our players are getting ready on stage.
Did it say White Rabbit earlier? Maybe there was a mistake in the overlay. I don't know.
Oh, did it?
I think so. I think that's why we're back on the screen again. Okay, so it's going to be Winter Madness here for set 2. Anyways, herO versus herO continuing on. This is a best of 5. Remember that the winner does move on into the finals later tonight here for the GSL Season 1 in 2026. Right now, herO with a 1-0 lead. Let's see if Cure can turn it around or if herO gets that much closer to winning this series. Okay, Cure in the bottom right and herO in the top left. We're getting the cheers out here in the audience.
I miss those cheers, Tasteless.
I know.
So good to have live.
I've been doing so much again. Just stuff without live audiences. I was like, what was that?
herO once again going for the very early probe scout.
Right.
It's a standard part of his PvT. He loves to get some early worker harassment in. Although I feel like the efficiency, the efficacy of this opening with the early probe scout, it's dwindled a little bit. Terran players, especially like Cure and Maru and Clem, have gotten so much better at making sure this probe is just constantly being bodied by one of these SCVs so it doesn't get a chance to recharge too many shields. So I remember initially when herO started doing this, when he would send one of the first 12 workers out to the Terran's base, he would get so much damage done. There would be so much idle time on the SCVs. A lot of them would be very badly bruised heading into the mid game that, if you play the aggressive styles like herO likes to play, say you push in later with the depths or you do some kind of, like we saw in game number 1, some kind of gateway robo timing attack, having a lot of injured SCVs, it makes things a little bit more tricky there for the Terrans, but you can see Kira just keeping on top of this, really minimizing the amount of harassment that herO can get done.
Yeah, I am interested in how active herO is going to be this time around. Honestly, I think that his build was supposed to win that last game.
It almost felt like a counter, didn't it?
It felt like it was a counter, but he kind of didn't manage it quite correctly after I think he basically did the damage. He tried to close the game out, probably because most of the other games he is able to just kind of shut the game down.
From Germany, welcome.
Yeah, welcome. But I thought in that last game, he got the Immortal, he killed off a ton of SCVs with the Zealots. I think you just go back and then you just take the whole map and kind of play a slow game. But he tried to just basically swing the game into a victory, and that's sort of where herO got back on his feet and had these counterattacks and was active on the map. And you know, it's funny. There were so many interactions in that last game, I couldn't keep track of them all. I don't know if anybody could. But it did end in a way that was similar to what we've seen with herO before, where herO has just hung on for so long and then finally has this army that's almost impossible to stop. And it's going to come down to, this base trade and then the two armies engaging each other at the very end.
And I wonder if we saw what might be a running theme in today's finals with the way herO responded to that. You notice he never really tried to take a head-on engagement versus Kira. When Kira decided that he was going to try and force one by pushing across to herO's side of the map, herO, twice in that game, decided that he would just go for a full-on base trade instead of actually engaging the Terran army, because herO knows that he can just continue to warp in units at any of the corner bases that he's got. He can continue to mess up an army. I think we might see more of that if we get more macro games, but here in match number 2, between Kira and herO, we actually have a proxy starport and a Dark Shrine.
Wow, this is a real curveball of a build. I honestly didn't think we were going to have any kind of DT opener at all today. That's wild.
DTs on 3 gateways. And for Kira, it actually seems a little bit unfortunate now that the starport is being proxied here, because I think he would love to have a Raven at home to deal with this later on. So we're waiting to see what the first unit will be out of that starport. It's actually going to be a tech lab, so...
Okay, so it's going to be a Banshee, yeah. By the way, even Banshees without Cloak are great against DTs. The Dark Shrine, it takes so long to build. How many scans are going to be available? This is, again, it's 3-gate DT, so I would assume he's going to have every single gateway make a DT. So we're about to see both these guys plummet in workers. And when you get this many DTs, it's about doing a lot of damage. And sometimes they might have already scanned. The timing's a bit unusual. Now, he started Cloak. The only reason why I'm bringing that up is he might not move in with the Banshee until the Cloak is done, which would mean the DTs will hit first.
DT's starting to warp in now. There's actually a 4th gateway being proxied.
Yeah, so he's going to go for DTs into a Zealot all in.
And Kira knows that something is up. He's throwing down 2 bunkers here in the natural expansion. He's anticipating an attack, but he doesn't know it's DTs. The orbital command on the main base with 35 energy. There is 1 bank scan in the natural expansion right now for Kira.
Okay, he's moving in. Does he see the blur? He
doesn't see it. The DT's going to get to the main base. And the DTs now are split. We have 1 more scan available in the main base. Engineering base is going to get thrown down. The first scan needs to take down this DT. If this DT gets away, it's huge.
Oh my god, the body block. He actually traps it. Meanwhile, we've already got over 14 kills here in the main.
Kirk trying to corral this last DT now in the main base. Looks like there might be another DT coming into the natural expansion. Yeah. Yes, there is.
And this is the problem, is that eventually you can't stop the DTs as long as they're separated.
Okay.
Oh my god. Okay, it finishes.
Missile turret gets sniped though. Kira has no minerals, 25 minerals in total. 1 more scan's gonna drop. He's throwing down 1 last turret, and now the Cloak Banshees can get some damage in of their own.
Now these Banshees are gonna kill things way faster than DTs can. The problem is there are Stalkers already here.
More probes getting sniped. One of these Banshees, because they're proxy, they have less energy than you would expect them to.
Oh, that's a good point.
In a typical Cloak build like this one. I mean, this Banshee just finished seconds ago, so it's going to be running out of energy in a moment. Only 8 workers falling on hero's side of the map.
Oh my god. So he's going to force another scan out here. That would deplete all the scans again, right?
I think so. There might be at most 1 more available here for Kira, but that very well could have been the last scan. Okay, the natural expansion is 1 more scan available.
okay, but you're fine baiting that out. And remember that charge is done, by the way. This, had Banshees not been made, the idea would have been that you would have hit with the DTs and then the Zealots just kind of overwhelm this position. Now, with the Raven, you can't really do anything else with DTs. StarCraft 2 DTs, basically, if you can see them and you have almost anything, they die.
Fall very quickly, but now that the dust is settled, it's almost double the workers right now for herO. He's been able to establish a third base. He's been getting shield batteries established in each one of his mineral lines to deal with the threat of the Banshees. By the way, looking at the units tab, you can tell that one of them did get sniped during all of that. And so economically, herO is in just a fantastic position right now versus Cure. Even though on paper, the units lost tab looked very similar in terms of resources lost, the economic damage that herO got done with those DTs was so massive. Not even counting all the idle time that Cure had, pulling the workers from the main base from the natural expansion over and over again, trying to defend against it.
So now what? We've got 29 SCVs here for Cure. We have the Zealots that we were talking about. This is going to be an inevitability. I mean, the idea is you kind of try to cripple the Terran, and then while they're weak and trying to get back on their feet, that's when you come in with the killing blow. Now, if Cure survives this, the game goes on, and we already saw him basically survive the attempted killing blow in game 1. Let's see if it happens now in game 2.
That charge is done.
He's got a lot, man.
I don't think herO can push into this.
This doesn't look right to me. Let's see.
All right, herO charging in with basically pure Zealots. The Sentry trying to guard
I guess
everything.
there's no stim,
shield,
actually.
Yeah, there is no stim. It's about 13 seconds away right now, but the Zealots eventually, they are going to dwindle. I suppose at the end of the day, what herO effectively did was trade all of his Zealots for a ton of Marines and SCVs.
Yeah, he did.
And that's good enough.
60 workers to 20 is pretty nice. But again, Terran gets enough of a death ball. You got stim, you've got heal. He's going to pull the boys.
Yeah, boys are getting pulled, but I don't know, Tasteless.
This is actually so sick to just drop the worker pool. That's crazy.
I just don't think Cure has enough.
I honestly think herO needs to run up his ramp and give this away. I mean, just be on one base. You're gonna be fine. Oh my God! Why is this tank here?
A tank gets sniped. You're gonna move into the natural expansion. We'll be able to take down the shield battery, 2 gateways, and the Colossus is halfway done. But the army for herO coming in to reinforce from the third base is so huge, Tasteless. And this is excellent positioning right now by Cure. The siege tanks, they're up against the Nexus, but there's just way too much.
Man, oh man. That was a great game. I tell you, getting the drop on the workers as they're leaving was crazy, because then there was no way for that to meet with the rest of the army. herO, by the way, coming in with very active, decisive play. Game 1, an Immortal Bust. Game 2, proxy DTs, the DT flood. Pretty old idea in StarCraft, going all the way back to early StarCraft 1 days, is you just can't stop the DT trickle as it goes into your base. Cure, it's funny. He's doing a pretty good job holding, to the point where he even he has an opportunity to try to end the game with a counterattack, but herO is just getting enough cuts in to where eventually Cure bleeds out.
herO's come in with so many clever builds just to start things out. Game 1 and Game 2, 2 very off-meta strategies that we haven't seen any Protoss player deploy this entire season of the GSL. herO's clearly been banking some of these plays for the GSL semifinals and finals today, and now he is on match point. 1 map win away from advancing to the grand finals. It'll be taking place later today. Cure, as you said, he has been looking really good. Game number 1 was one of the best games, maybe the best game that we've had this entire GSL season so far. And game number 2, Cure, he didn't have very many tools to try and deal with the DTs, but he still hanged on. Who knows? Maybe he'll start a comeback. Maybe he will force a game number 5, but it's going to be a tough road versus herO. As map number 3 is loading in. Can herO close it out, or will Cure fight back?
Okay, Cure in the bottom right now. herO in the top left. And, okay. We're getting the cheers in here, but we're also having 2 SCVs leave.
herO's gotta notice the lack of SCVs with his fast probe scout, right?
Yeah, I mean, it's funny. I feel like that's one of the harder things to tell when you come in and scout, but you should be able to see it.
Yeah, 2 SCVs,
Two
I think
SCVs
you
is
should
a lot,
know.
yeah. Because usually you come and you go, okay, there's a barracks somewhere on the map. Yeah, I think you could tell.
It seems sparse here in the main base. herO, no matter what, does know there is going to be a proxy barracks. The question is, does he know that there will be 2?
Yeah, that's the big question. Because 2 is very different from 1.
So herO, he's going to try and do as much delaying as possible here with this 1 probe, getting the word harassment in. For Kira, I'm imagining this is going to be proxy marauders, if I were to guess anything, with the gas being taken.
From Dallas, welcome guys. It's a long trip.
And herO is now beginning to scout for the proxy structures. He knows there are barracks somewhere on the map, but he doesn't know where. So we'll have to keep our eyes on exactly what the response is going to be here for herO. I'm imagining as soon as this gateway is done, you either throw down a second gateway in the Cybernetics core, or you start a Zealot in core. It will be Marauders.
This is, you know, it's all about Marauders right now.
Yeah.
Marauders, you know, historically, not the first unit you make in PvT. There are builds where you do it, but oh my God.
I thought he was going to check.
Well, hold on,
oh,
hold
now
on,
he
hold
will.
The
kidding
Nexus
me.
already starts. Oh my
You're
God, I
kidding
can't
me.
believe this.
herO still doesn't know. If he sends this probe home, he'll find it. Okay, he's going to find it.
Okay, so he knows. This isn't a lot of time. You know, if you cancel a Nexus, you lose 100 minerals. So, you know, it's always, if you can ever spot this before the Nexus starts, I think that's pretty strong.
Shield battery's getting thrown down right now.
Yeah, the Marauders are up here in the front doing damage.
No concussive shell yet.
Yeah, now concussive shell, the whole idea is if you micro perfectly, they can't deal damage. Concussive shell, by the way, it upgrades pretty fast. Okay, and he's all in with this. So this is not just like he's going to try to you know, slow Protoss. He's going to try to end the game right now. I think this should work, honestly.
Do you think for Kira it's going to work?
I think it should.
The fact that he's banking the Marauders like this, I'm inclined to agree with you. If he has enough that he can 2 or 3 shot the Stalkers, despite the shield batteries, he might just be able to power his way through and just muscle over this Terran army. Okay, Kira pushing in right now, connects with the first Stalker. Not enough DPS to actually isolate it, but now the SCVs with the body block. herO is forced away.
This is crazy. The SCVs just go ham on the Stalker, and he can't even save it. Can he recall or something? No, I mean, that's going to be... I mean, you tell me, is there any way to recover from this? I don't think so.
Oh, the next Stalker gets hit. Probes are being pulled right now, but I think it's too late.
Yeah, the damage is so high that as long as the Stalkers can get close enough to all shoot in unison, I think you can't stop it. Now, the gateway's down here. It's going to be able to warp in one more, excuse me. And by the way, remember, Terran can't really heal. I guess SCVs could repair each other. But, you know, all the damage that goes on to Terran is permanent. He is going to get a force field on the ramp here. The probes, I mean, you're happy to sacrifice them just to take the Marauders out. We've got 2 Stalkers here. They're going to fight an isolated Marauder down here on the low ground. He's going to come back. He needs to go to the batteries.
Oh, the
But now
recharge
he's
is coming
surrounded.
through. I think it might just be too much DPS still. Kira even focus firing down. The reinforcing Stalker, a big smile on herO's face. GG.
Good pick there from Kira.
That was impressive. herO knew it was coming. He scouted the 2 barracks. I think the SCV pull proved to be the difference.
Yeah, well, you know what happened was the Stalkers, you try to put them far out so that you can hit the Marauders and then run them through this this whole network of shield batteries to heal you, right? And the whole idea is if you just keep chipping away at them, you're going to be on the other side, back at your ramp, where they have less units. But when the SCVs come in, they body block the Stalker. The Stalker can't actually run home, and then the damage just, you know, it piles on. And that's when you have that power spike. You're able to break that position.
So the micro from Kira was very intentional.
We're going to go to a break, guys. We'll be right back. Stay tuned. Kira vs. herO continues on after this.
GSL Season 1.
Just keep on running.
Welcome back, everybody. Thank you for waiting. Luckily, we did not have a 3-0 as Cure brilliantly opened up with a build that crushed herO before the game could really get started. The problem right now I see for Cure is, can he win in a game that lasts long enough?
Yeah, it's been a tumultuous road for herO so far in this Best of 5 series. I'm glad he finally got that one win on 10,000 feet. He's kind of pulling the rug out from under herO with a proxy 2 barracks Marauder build. Paired up with that SCV pull early on. I don't think you can make that magic happen 2 or 3 times in a row here for Cure. I think you got to mix it up. You got to go back to something a little bit more standard looking, and I think that's where the issue mostly has been in this series, is that herO keeps throwing these curveballs early on, whether it be in game number 1 with the 3-gate robo play, which we basically never see in PBT anymore early on, and then in game number 2 with a very fast DT build, just really hindering the early growth of Cure. Because when Cure gets to the mid game, even though sometimes he's kind of limping into it, he does look very strong in this series. He's been looking strong in this matchup in TVP across the entire GSL. But if herO can just continue to throw these wrenches into the works, I'm not sure what Cure can do.
Yeah, I mean, we'll see. We'll see what Cure's got. We're going to go into game 4 now. It's Ruby Rock, where it will go down. Right now, herO up 2-1 in this best of 5 in a fight to go on to the GSL Season 1 finals. herO here in the bottom right. And, sorry, Cure in the bottom right, herO in the top left. I saw the probe at the top left going to the bottom right. I started saying I'm going to go into the bottom right.
Early SCV out on the map here for Cure.
Yeah, so there's a probe going to the workers just missed each other. I think the observer's still trying to capture the player cheers, but both players are moving workers to like very different spots. So people getting the cheers in for herO. Okay, so we got through that part of the production. There is another proxy barracks here. This one's at 12. This one's with 1 SCV instead of 2.
This is a less committed build. And herO's going to scout the fast second gas, and so he'll know it's not exactly the same thing coming at him. But I like this follow-up. It's very good series planning from Cure to go for the proxy 2 barracks in one game and then go for another proxy barracks that plays out differently in the following game. Because given the way that game number 3 went between these two, this might now prompt an overreaction from herO.
Excellent. First GSL in 2010. Last live GSL. That's when we have our brains and robots right now. We're like some kind of Futurama skit. So this is a reactor.
Is he going to build a factory?
I think he might 1-1-1. Well, this is, people have been doing proxy 1-1-1s. So it could be a factory.
I think it will be. He's building a reactor, so likely going to be Marines coming out with this. And yeah,
okay.
There's the factory.
So if you do this, you can make the starport. You don't have to make it right next to this, because I mean it's a starport. You can kind of get starport units anywhere. But when I've seen Cure do this before, he does that. So you might be looking at this and going, he's going to rush again. The thing is, it's a different kind of rush. And until you scout it, you don't know what kind of game it is. So let's say that he's assuming this is going to be the Marauder play that was last time. He might be angling for a different composition that's not going to work against the 1-1-1.
And even if herO finds out that this is a 1-1-1, which I think he's suspecting already by sending the Zealot cross map and still going for these SCVs, by the way. You just see what a nuisance that herO's probes can be. One SCV almost falling there. It's that you don't know when the timing is actually going to hit you from Cure. You can go for a very slow burn with this build where you continue to build up and get multiple siege tanks, get a large group of Marines, add an extra starport unit, or you can go basically right away. It's difficult for the Protoss to be able to parry both of those. So for now, herO is just going to be using a little bit of aggression to try and get scouting information for him. The probe is going to fall on the main base. herO behind this, he's building a Void Ray out of the Stargate at home. Very interesting choice going for the Void Ray.
So the Void Ray would make sense if you thought Marauders were coming. Right? That would be like, okay, well now you just die. But I don't know how good a Void Ray is going to be against this. The Void Ray is always kind of the black sheep of the Protoss early game units.
herO notably has not built in Nexus at his natural expansion just yet, so this is one base versus one base still. herO is not going to have an economic edge versus Kier anytime soon.
So he's just going to try to repair these as much as he can. If the Adept does force the SCVs to run back. And I guess you want to move out with the medevac, I think?
Honestly,
no more than one battery, right? It's just one battery back home, right?
I think it might be. It would honestly be brilliant for herO to send the Void Ray cross map at the moment that it was done. But instead, he's keeping it at home for now. And it's 10 Marines, a medevac, and a siege tank.
Did he start a second unit in the starport?
Not sure. Drop is beginning now at the main base. The medevac gets picked off. That's huge.
Yeah, now without the medevac, okay, I think he's going to be fine.
Oh, I take it all back. The Void Rays being at home is...
Yeah, no, that's the play. I don't get to see this interaction very often.
I feel like I hardly ever see
I'm not sure
this.
about like stimless Marines versus a Void. I don't know who's supposed to take what here. This is now the depots are going down. The problem is the Void Rays are they're so strong.
There's no answer for these.
No, you know, the Marine count gets low enough, even with a reactor on there. You know, it's going to be too much. By the way, Terran's supply blocked. So, like, you're losing Marines and you're not even remaking them.
The micro here, the Void Ray gets pulled back as well. The Marines are gone.
GG. What an ending. What a crazy ending that was. And, you know, the medevac being shot down immediately, that was huge. Yeah. That was massive. And you can see there just wasn't a whole lot that could be done there. herO went for another cheesy proxy build, but herO didn't even expand. You can see the two players now kind of going over that whole best of 5 and what happened there, probably what they both thought each other were going to do. And that was really impressive, that last final game. I like the idea of what Kier was trying to do, but I think, you know, herO's response to get the double Void Ray, that is, when you look at it, kind of a panacea for all the weird cheeses that Terran can do, right?
Yeah, the moment the Marine count gets low enough, and usually it's quite low, especially if you go for a tech-heavy proxy like that one, there's just no answer for the Void Rays. Like, what are you going to do? Get a Viking out of your starport? Does a Viking beat 2 Void Rays? I don't think so, Tasteless. And so,
yeah, Yeah.
It's a very interesting answer to the proxy builds that we've been seeing start to pop up.
I think online, a lot of proxy builds from Terran are going to have a hard time, unless there is a proxy anti-Void Ray build. To be honest, when I see that coming, I don't even know, you know, I've not really seen that kind of a response to this. And you can see that, like, it doesn't seem like there's any easy answer here for Terran. I don't know. It really, you know, it makes me think a lot about how Terrans are going to deal with that in the future.
Yeah, maybe if you work in a Cyclone as part of that build, you might have a little bit more of an answer to the Void Rays. But in any case, with that build in the form that we've been seeing, with the Marines and the factory siege tanks getting elevated up into the main base, whether it be on like 10,000 feet or on another map like that one, the Void Ray just seems like a very good answer. I'm surprised that we haven't seen it up until this point.
Yeah, well, when I look at it, I go, oh, yeah, that's pretty good against almost anything. I mean, obviously not expanding if you're being proxied is probably just a better play. It's better if you have expanded and also hold it, because then you win automatically. But at the same time, being able to just shut down what they're going to do off of one base is great. And, yeah, I mean, I do wonder if Maru watches that game and kind of goes, okay, mental note, if I'm going to do a proxy of my own, that might be his response if it's scouted. Because herO likes to scout the Terran main immediately.
Yeah, he does it every game, more or less.
Literally.
So, well, that was a very fun series, honestly. Every single game was unique in its own way. I feel like we haven't had many PBTs that look like any of those matches so far in this GSL. So, it's exciting, man. herO looks to be in very good form.
Yeah, I mean, he's honestly been killing it. I mean, we've had many periods where he is the best Protoss in Korea, maybe the world. I think we're going to go to a break, guys. When we come back, we're going to go to our second best of 5. Stay tuned.
to the dawn, another